if a friend doesn't reach out, if a friend doesn't do this, if someone doesn't do that. Like, let's be mindful about that because I do know that everyone does try to do the best that they can do. Some people can't get out of their own way. Some people don't have energy in the tank.
I haven't talked to them in months. The only reason I know what's going on in their lives is because of social media, and it's devastating. Like, one of my friends had her second child months ago. I haven't seen the kid. Hey, Evolve fam, it is Bianca.
And it's Emilia. Welcome back, y'all. And this episode, I really am excited to get into because of the fact that I had this moment the other week. By the time that this episode comes out, it was a couple of weeks ago. And I know that so many of us, you and I have talked about it, so many of us go through this. When it comes to getting older, I like to say like getting wiser, hashtag wiser community. Just kidding.
Holy
When we
throwback.
get older, we all come across this kind of feeling that I call it the guilt bridge of friendships because some of us outgrow our friends. Some of us go through this whole inner world journey and we don't know really how to bring our friends along in that. They might not know how to support us. We might go through, really like different ego deaths and becoming a whole another person. And our friends just don't know how to kind of navigate that. And it's not like anyone has a book to kind of follow and say, like, this is how I want to maintain my friendships. Right. So there's a lot of people that struggle making sure that their friendships come with them for the long haul. And it's not something where you feel like you're dragging them along or you're forcing both people to be in that. So, B, I was just sharing with you how a couple of weeks ago, I had received a text from my mom and it was super Akko Taco because the Akko Taco of it was like, first of all, it's great because my mom's on Instagram now, which is awesome. I love the fact that she's getting connected and she's, a lot of people and their parents are, right? Um, but it was a text that was along the lines of like, did you see X, the person's name? I'm going to keep anonymous, but essentially this person's name was a friend of mine who I absolutely adore, have pretty much loved ever since she and I got in this friendship. Now I'm talking like probably 10 years ago we got into a friendship, and she and I
Mm.
had met in when I was studying abroad in London, and we like instantly became best friends. But that type of best friend where you don't have to always be together to like know each other's souls, and like you can not talk to each other for months and then pick back right up where you left them. So like what I found in my personal relationships was oftentimes that was the type of friendships that I really loved, I really needed. And it was because I would always be so busy or I was always growing and evolving so quickly that I didn't necessarily have time to do and go see friends on the weekend and always go to baby showers and engagement parties and all this happy jazz. So those were the friendships that were always most meaningful for me. So when I received this text from my mom, did you see XYZ, with a screenshot of this chick's photo of her at an engagement party. She's now engaged. She now has a partner and she's so excited. She looks so happy. And I was literally flooded with such like happy feelings just seeing that. But there was also this like weird feeling of guilt of like, number
Mm.
one, like, ma, I don't sit on, like, I have better things to do than kind of troll social media and see what's going on with people's lives. And so I just felt super duper unseen in that. But let's be real, like a lot of people are really socially connected and do see
Mm.
people's lives and their updates and their highlight reels coming through again and again on their social media feels or feeds. And so receiving this, it really lit up all those pathways of like, man, like I haven't spoken to her in so long. And I know that that's a two-way street. And do I reach out? Do I not? Like all of those like back and forth kind of thought patterns of like, well, I'm super happy for her, but I feel bad not reaching out after like, I don't even know how many years it's been since we last connected. And then my biggest fear was that if I did reach out, it would be she wouldn't know how much I do really love her, and that all the years that I didn't reach out wasn't because I didn't love her. It was because I was choosing me over every single person. And a lot of people take that personally. And so I didn't share this with you, B, just before this episode, but I'll kind of round this out and then let's dialogue around it, which is I ended up sending her an audio, and I
Oh,
sent her an audio sharing my vulnerabilities and my concerns, and really just, like, wished her love and
wait,
was
your
so
mom or
happy.
friend?
No, the friend. And I told my mom to kindly F off. No, I'm kidding. Um,
We love
but
you, Vic.
but kind of. It was just like, "All right." I don't like she's sweet. She's always been like that woman that's like, "Screw all of the stuff that that inner critic might be
That's
saying, like, just go
mad
do it."
funny.
Love it. So, shout out to you, Mama Vic. So with that, I reached out to her and this friend was super sweet, like, and one of the things that I realized was that now this isn't everyone's story, so I will put this out there. So after I had received some really terrifying experiences, and B and I haven't really talked about this publicly, but one of my stalkers kind of came back into the fold a couple years ago, and I had to change my phone number. And one of the reasons why my friend hadn't really heard from me was because I wasn't prepared to share my phone number with anyone.
Oh, I
Mm.
remember that. I was
Yeah,
on the
yep.
phone with you and we had to do that.
Oh, yeah, yep, and a lot of people still in my life that I had close to me still don't even know that. Like, if there's a lot of people even in my family that don't even have my updated phone number. So, like, long story short, what essentially happened, I kinda shared that high level with her, this friend, via audio, and just kind of pretty much wanted to, like, celebrate her. So the audio was more about, like, "I love you, I've always loved you, I've never stopped loving you, and you always have my love. You're an amazing person. I'm so happy for you." And I sent that message and just, like, was like, "I don't expect any type of communication. I know we're all busy. I don't take that personally, and I hope you know that no matter what, if you need anything, like,
Hmm.
you can always call me, right? Like, you can always reach out." This experience, I know when it comes to friendships and growing up and why it is so hard, this is something that I have so many dialogues around with clients,
Yeah.
people who are moms, people who are business owners, people who are just literally growing up and trying to figure out who they are. Friendships sometimes are really, really difficult to not only keep alive, but to evolve with you. And so I think really just talking about the fact that this is number one, something that is normal, and normalizing that and releasing ourselves of the guilt. And number two, really thinking about for our evolvers listening to this and B and you and I for this conversation, like, what is the gift that we can give to ourselves when it comes to this? As we grow older, we understand that not everyone's going to grow right next to us. Not everyone's going to be right like at your hip distance, growing every single lockstep with you. And that's okay. Releasing yourself from that guilt though. That, like, oh, I didn't go to their baby shower. Oh, I declined their invitation for XYZ. Like, I think that a lot of people hold pain in that arena.
Well, I think it's not only the guilt, it's the loneliness too. Like when you get really busy, you want to be going to these things. You don't want to lose friendships. You don't want
Yeah.
to miss out on your friends' lives. But it's like, I literally cannot make time for this. Like, I have 1,015 things going on in my day. We would have to schedule months in advance. And then when things come up, it's like by the time that that thing finally comes up, it's like 20 more things popped up.
Yeah.
I have this conversation with clients all the time, and I go through this in my own life too. Like, there's some friends of mine, I love them so immensely. I would do
Mhm.
anything for them. I haven't talked to them in months.
Yeah.
The only reason I know what's going on in their lives is because of social media, and it's devastating. Like one of my friends had her second child months ago. I haven't seen the kid. I
How much
haven't seen
guilt do you
her. I
have for
haven't.
that?
Oh my god, I feel so guilty.
Right?
And this friend is so understanding and she doesn't put any pressure, and honestly, I think it's, like, better for her that people don't come over because her life is crazy.
Probably. Yeah, I
But
can only imagine. Good
she's
for
now a mom of 2.
Mhm.
She has 2 dogs. She's trying to help her parents with their lives. She has her partner she's dealing with. It's like neither of us have the time.
Right.
And it's like making the time for it. Yeah, it's possible, but there's a lot that goes involved with it. And
Truly.
this is one of the things that, like, nobody tells you about growing up. It's that you are going to be distanced from a lot of friendships and a lot of the old relationships that you had, and you might lose a lot of those relationships because of the new life that you have. Like, you and I have talked about this very openly, and it's hard for me to know this, but it is the truth. Like, you are my best friend,
Mhm.
and if we didn't do Evolve together, I'd probably never see you again.
Oh, that's so hard to hear, and it's so
But
true, and,
it's
the
the
fact that you're
truth.
truth seeking is why we are in each other's lives.
When you're on a journey of self discovery or self rediscovery, it's very important to have a support system in place. And that's where a group like Evolve comes in with their acceptance and advice and different people from different walks of life who can offer different perspectives for you to help you find your self worth and aid in your journey of wellness. It's important and essential.
Like, you and I are only in each other's lives because of Evolve. Like, if I didn't jump on the Evolve train,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have seen each other anymore.
that's
Not with
true.
what Evolve is going to be.
Yeah.
And that's it's heartbreaking. Like,
Mhm.
people ask me all the time, like, "Do you and Emilia see each other all the time?" It's like, I don't see Emilia ever. I see Emilia once a year when we force ourselves to see each other because we have to. Now, granted, we should be seeing each other more for, for the community and whatnot, and we're making the time for that, but
Yeah,
it's due to the mission.
yeah.
And again, not everybody has a massive mission that they're working on, but we
Mm-mm.
all have families, we all have our own lives, we're getting into relationships or getting out of relationships and starting
Building our
jobs and
careers
having careers. Yeah, doing all of these things and dealing with parents that are getting older. Like,
or
it's
finding
so
ourselves. There's so
yes,
much.
it's so hard to maintain those friendships when everyone's lives are evolving and
Mhm.
growing and getting, just more busy. And
Yeah.
not that it's impossible, right? Again, we will make time for the things that are important to
Mhm.
us at the capacity that we're capable of. So, could I put more effort into seeing my friend? Yes. Am I going to try? Honestly, yeah. I miss her, so I am going to try. But, like, that's not feasible for everybody.
Yeah.
So, if it is feasible for you and you do wanna make it a priority, there's always ways, but for those of us that aren't, that it isn't feasible or that it's just not a top priority, learning how to let go of that guilt or to
Yeah.
transform that guilt or find ways to make it align. So, like, sending audios every now and then, like,
Yeah.
I know you do that all the time. You're always sending audios to people like, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I care about you. Like, I hope you're well," or they're sending them to you. I might not be able to get back to you right away, but, like,
Yeah.
you find ways to make it work. It's just
Mhm.
it's if you're not into, like, the weekend party culture with a lot which a lot of people, like, stop doing after a certain point, you do stop seeing friends. You
Yeah.
stop going out all the time. Your life changes drastically, and you
Mhm.
are going to transform. I don't wanna say let go of, you are going to transform a lot of the experiences, the people, and the places that were part of your life, and that's okay, it's a part of this process.
Mm. It's like, I have the visual of the caterpillar transforming into the butterfly, and one of the things that we all share on top of this conversation is that, like, we've also gone through COVID and lockdown, all of us, right?
Yeah,
That was a global phenomenon. The way in which that impacted how people get together in the process of what that looks like, we would be naive to think that it didn't impact the way in which we just define friendship, the way in which we utilize friendship as a function of society, as a function of our support system, as a function of our well being. Now, we know that relationships, the quality of our relationships, oftentimes and scientifically, determines the quality of our life and longevity. And I've always been someone that focuses way more on quality over quantity, always. I want to encourage everyone that's ever struggled in this arena to instead focus on the guilt and the shame and or the blame or whatever, right? Like the didn'ts. I didn't do this. So the regrets. I
Mm.
think regret can be a great informator, but I think when you actually really focus on the quality of your interactions, the quality of those, texts that you send or the likes or the comments that you give on social media to hype your girlfriends up or your guy friends up or the gifts that you send them, like think about the intention and the impact that you have on others and really give yourself the credit when you do put in that effort because like y'all getting older, man, it is not as easy as I don't want to say as other people make it look because honestly no one's really made it look easy. But it's a lot
It's hard.
harder than people make it like honestly than they describe
We
it.
just don't talk about it. We just don't talk about
Don't,
it.
right? It's like, "Oh, yeah, no, like, that happens." It's like, "Well, but why though?" "Oh, you have more responsibilities, you have, you're trying to figure out who you are, you're going through, like, an ego death, you're trying to make sure that at the end of the day of seeing 13 different clients a day, like, you still have energy in the tank, right? Oh, by the way,
Mhm.
you have actually learned that you're an introvert when the whole world, your whole upbringing has told you you're an extrovert. Oh god, I forgot. Oh, I experienced a trauma and I'm actually reprocessing it now and, I actually wanna kind of figure out who the heck I am, and so, like, no one actually really talks about that. So,
Yeah.
focus in on what can make and alleviate that stress around whatever is and usually it's our inner critic that is coming in and saying, "You should have gone to their whatever. You should have sent them a text. You should have done whatever." Let's not give that and gas that up. Let's instead refocus on the inner narrative on what we actually really are trying to do in the world. Because more often than not, if you're listening to this episode, you're trying to better yourself. And that and enough is so important and does need to be celebrated. If you can
Yeah.
even manage to keep friendships on top of that, like good on ya, that's awesome. And
Yes.
do what you can when you can, right? Capabilities is so much contingent upon how much energy you are able to strategically design to be in the tank at the end of the day. And so maybe right now you are feeling a little lonely. Maybe you have outgrown a lot of your friends. Maybe some of the friends that you do have, they're actually still doing things that you don't want to do anymore. And you want to up level your friendships. You want to get in and be a part of a community that actually has growth at the center point or is mental health aware. My question to each and every single one of you is can you release the old nostalgic friendships? Can you give up to get up? Meaning
Mm.
upgrade your life, upgrade your social circles, upgrade your community and what community means for you. Can it be more aligned with your values, your belief systems, and who you are becoming? That's where Evolve Venture Society is. That's where this Evolve community is. And that's where, all of those elements can really help you lean into more of that truer, authentic version of yourself.
Well said. Um, what's your episode suggestion?
My
Oh,
episode
sorry.
suggestion. It's okay. It's okay. Gulp. Um, 305 Motivation Monday, How to Respect Yourself. Um,
Mhm.
Last antidote on that is I think that if we catch ourselves internalizing or personalizing, if a friend doesn't reach out, if a friend doesn't do this, if someone doesn't do that, like let's be mindful about that because I do know that everyone does try to do the best that they can do. Some people can't get out of their own way. Some
Yes.
people don't have energy in the tank. And you might see them on social media engaging in a specific way or, whatever. And if we interpret that as something that can be tricky water and actually that can actually be the downfall of a lot of relationships when we make assumptions that aren't fair, we don't know the whole picture, and we don't give people the benefit of the doubt.
100%. It is so much easier to engage on mindless social media than it is to actually have an intimate conversation with somebody.
Mhm.
It's way easier to scroll and put a post up than it is to actually have an intimate conversation. So,
Yeah.
um, one of the podcasts that I really enjoy is Sabrina Zohar, and she calls out like some of the BS that we do. And one of the things that she says is if they wanted to, they would. BS, and it's like, that's not true. You're not looking at 99% of the other things that are going on in this person's life, and you just alluded to that, so I'm really glad that you said that, Em. My episode suggestion is number 303, redefining loneliness.
Mhm.
It is
Nice.
lonely. It
Yeah.
is. It's hard, and it's uncomfortable, and find ways to make it aligned for you. Find aligned ways, and if you can't, that's okay. How can you learn to accept that this is the phase of your life?
Mm. So
All right,
true,
everybody.
and wait, last thing, I want to say
Wait.
movie club, we haven't even announced movie club when it comes to our
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
Right, so I just wanna make sure that anyone that's listening to this episode is gonna be released on what is it, the 29th or no, the 9th. So sad you just missed the first movie club for September, but movie club, Evolve Movie Club, is going to be the first Monday of every single month. So we have a movie of the month that we're watching. So if you want to join October's movie club, we would love to have you reach out and or fill in the form that is in the link below. I won't give away what the details of the movie that we're going to be watching together,
It
although
is a
I
good
do
one,
have
though.
that. It's going to be a great one. So we would love
Good.
to have you there. Speaking of friends and circles where your interests and values are right there at the heart of things. So we would love to have you there. All right, now I'm done.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.